Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be talking about Mushoku Tensei Season 2, Part 2, and where are we at? Where are we at? Episode 5 of this season, but in total, 17 overall. So this was a very good episode, very emotionally stimulated, and I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. Best one yet. Anyway, to start things off, Norn has been avoiding Rudis, and Rudis has finally had enough. He's not upset at her, but he's wondering what she's going through, what's wrong with her, who did this to her, and he's going through this PTSD mindset while he's stomping and running inside the school, kind of like in this mental state of like anger. It's very much anger, upset. This is what I had to go through. So, what he does to figure out what is happening to Norn is that he goes to her classroom and he's like, "Hey, teach," and the teacher's like, excuse me, Rudis, what are you here for?" And he's like, "Hey, can I come up front and say something?" And he just goes up there and he's like, "Hey, do you guys know what's going on with my sister? Do you know if there's anyone picking on her?" And he's like looking around with this like menacing stare. Everyone would like just look away. They would all try to avoid his gaze, and they're all kind of like scared of him. Some of them were looking a little more menacing, a little more like bullies, like stereotypical bullies per se. But the big thing that happens is this girl raises her hand. She's like, "I'm gonna." In his mind, he's like, "I'm gonna tear him limb to limb." And this girl raises her hand. He's like, "You," and she's like scared of him. So she's like, "No." I made a comment to her about how she's like you, and she kind of like wanted to walk away. And then the teacher's like, "Oh, I made a comment as well that she should be working hard as you." And she got upset and didn't talk to me and just ran off. So that kind of is the big shocker. And Rudis was like having like, "Oh my god, I'm the reason. I could be the reason that my sister is going through all this." So what Rudis does is he comes up with this plan to go and get to his sister's room. As you know from a prior episode, that the dorms are separated by gender. Since he's a boy, he would get persecuted and get expelled. So Princess Ariel has a speech as a distraction, sorry. And his two best animal pals, he's the boss of them. They basically sneak him in. He gets in there, and it's just kind of sad. We're going back to Rudis, and we get to see her mindset finally, what she's going through, as it shows her she can't see Rudis just yet. She's hiding between her, like, I don't know what you would call it. It's like a cover on beds. I don't see it very often, but it's, I guess, like, not a sleeping bag, but almost like a tent, but for your bed. I don't know. Traditionally, I've never seen this much. I know it's more common on like a female's bed than a male's, because I don't know many males that have that. I don't know. I'm not trying to be controversial. I've just never seen it much, but I recognize it. Anyway, he's just sitting there thinking, and he's like realizing on what he's done. He's made her go through a bunch, and she, on the other hand, is looking back. It all started where Brutus beat Dad, and she's like, "Oh, she did this to Dad," and she was like having the talk, and like the whole time her mindset was like, "Brutus is gonna hit me. Brutus hates me. He doesn't want me here." Even up till the time where she had her way, she was even having the talk with Gerard, and it's just insane. Finally, she opens up her little thing, and we look at Brutus, and he transforms into this like older self. And I'm just like, what the heck is happening? I'm like, what is going on? And then transforms back to Rudy. Literally, he didn't transform, but it's going through her mind who he is. And I think it was like a comparison to Dad to him, and like seeing him for him at that point on. And she cries, and she's like, Rose is like, "Can I stay here the night if you let me?" And yeah, they kind of like make it up. We get to go on to her at school, and Rudis getting greeted by her. And she also takes the time to even greet Sylvie. So it's a relationship that's very much came a long way and has been repaired. I still think they have a lot to work on. But I mean, Rudis, he's shown that he's willing to do what it is. And another big thing throughout this is he was reminded of him and his brother's relationship. His brother, he didn't know how his brother felt completely, but he sort of did at this time. And he was just having these thoughts. You know, one of the last time that Rudy, well, whatever his real name was, Rudy, is that his brother was giving him facts and he was asking if he wanted to go eat. And he was saying that after all that, his brother didn't really come around him much. So it was kind of emotional. He was talking about how if Nanoshi ever goes back to the real world, that he wants her to send a message to his brother about that he's sorry and he understands now. So yeah, I love this episode. I think it was by far one of the better ones this season so far, and it's still got a while to go. We still haven't got to the action. We still haven't got to like the main meat and bones, but this is a relationship that has been brought back to life. I still think that something's coming up. We have the turning point coming. Whenever the turning points come, something big usually happens, or something bad, but it's usually bigger. So we're probably gonna see one of our favorite girls throughout. I think a lot of people are like, oh, Eris. You already know who it is. We already know it's gonna be our favorite witch coming up. I just have that feeling. That's not a spoiler. I've not read the manga at all. That's just a hypothetical guess that would all make sense. Roxy, Roxy, here we come. This is what we need. We have been waiting all this time. I don't know if it's gonna like have jealousy with Sylvie and so on, but I think traditionally, am I wrong? But I don't know. They can have multiple partners or something. I don't know. I think it's gonna be like a weird triangle thing, but who knows? Anyway, tell me what you guys think about this episode. I think it was phenomenal, and I think they just keep tipping the iceberg over. You know, with losing a lot of the team that they had to start off with, and coming out and still throwing punches on something that's not a lot is still so great. I love it. This series, phenomenal, and it's one you should be watching start till now. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys stay safe and peace.